Dear friends and curious minds gathered here, welcome. Today we stand on the precipice of a new frontier in communication. We're not just sending messages. We are painting digital canvases with a palette of pixels that represent our laughter, our culture, and our stories, and even more. Let's journey together into this brave new world of non-textual communication and challenge the boundaries of urban government's frontstage and backstage theory within the realms of Slack and WeChat. So these are the main source that my data comes from in this data analysis. Imagine our digital playground where the emojis, stickers, memes, and GIFs are not mere adornments, but the very brushstrokes that define our digital identities. Here, I have a question for you. Do you use any stickers, memes, emojis, and GIFs during your digital communications? You may want to think for a bit. And do you think that's your new Facebook? Or you think it's just limited to younger generations? For me, I think these symbols of our era build the power to weave complex emotional and cultural narratives that words alone could never fully express. As you delve into the intricacies of this chart, notice the myriad forms of non-textual elements peppered across various digital platforms as I listed here: Slack, WeChat, Zoom, Canva, email. These symbols offer a rich layer of communication that we simply don't capture in face-to-face interactions. You'll see that I've employed a coding method to quantify their occurrences. This isn't just data, it's the language of our digital era, an insight into how frequently these symbols are woven into our online dialogues. They've become a digital face, if you will, allowing individuals to craft and project their personas within the digital realm. Well, these are all happening in the ISSS, but I assume that must happen in your digital realm as well. But this face work doesn't have to be mainly in the front stage as government suggested. But we cannot also define them as a main part of backstage. Instead, you will find out that it is something in between when it comes to digital platforms. Take note of the frequency column. They're not just numbers. It signifies the prevalence of these elements in our conversations, revealing how integral they are in the fabric of digital face work, whether it's a thumbs up emoji to show agreement, or a firecracker sticker celebrating a cultural event like Chinese New Year. These symbols are omnipresent in both our casual banner and our serious professional exchanges in ISSS. Here's where we see a dramatic shift from the theories of Irving Goffman. In his time, the line between the front stage and backstage was clear. But now we witness these lines blurring. These non-textual elements, they don't discriminate between formal and informal. They seamlessly integrate into our communications, heralding a new era where digital expressiveness is the norm. And why is this important? Because it speaks to the evolution of our interactions. It signals a change in how we connect, how we express empathy, how we conduct business, and fundamentally, how we are as a society in this digital age. Consider this scenario. During a chatting on Slack where ISSS staff discuss dogs in a formal meeting, suddenly a meme pops up like this. Now, how do we classify this? Is this simply a lighthearted backstage interruption, Or does it become part of the formal discourse, blending humor with serious discussion? Here is the true conversation happened between ISS staff. This blurring of lines is precisely where traditional theories like those of Goffman start to stretch and require adaptation to encompass digital interactions. For those of you who have engaged with my recent analysis on digital role fluidity, if you're not, you can go to digital role fluidity data analysis to watch the whole presentation. And you'll recognize this blend of front stage and backstage elements. This data here doesn't just suggest, but clearly shows how these two realms often coexist within the same digital spaces. And take an all-staff channel on Slack. It's designed as a front stage area for official communications, yet the informal exchanges that occur there illustrate how seamlessly these stages merge in digital environments. For this scenario in this data, ISSS staff embroiled in a technical snack are all trying to access a web page with no success except for Han. Han is here. And amidst the digital cheers and the celebratory comments, Melinda posts a GIF or a meme. With this one action, the conversation is transformed. No longer is it just a formal exchange talking about the issue of web page. It becomes a tapestry woven with threads of humor, cultural references, and a lighter, more personable tone. This is the cultural impact of non-textual communication, transforming a standard interaction into something that resonates on a deeper, more human level. And what are the reactions? A GIF, a simple meme, they're not just pixels on a screen, they're catalysts. They spark laughter, they elicit nods of agreement, and they resonate with shared understanding. Here we see the true power of non-textual elements, as they carry the dual ability to both acknowledge achievement and to unite us in a moment of collective amusement. Their impact on our interactions is undeniable, reshaping the way we connect and contribute to our group dynamics. And now let's consider the middle ground. These non-textual elements create. It's a space that defies the traditional boundaries. It's a digital crossroads where the formal merges with the informal, where the professional can playfully coexist with the personal. In this middle ground, the use of a well-placed emoji or a culturally relevant meme can seamlessly shift the atmosphere from a broad room seriousness to a jovial camaraderie of a coffee break. So from here, let me share a personal experience. My supervisor and I sharing the same cultural background. As some of you may already know, we are all originally from China. Find ourselves constantly navigating the power dynamics inherent in our roles. On one occasion, I sent her an article draft regarding the Penn campus alert-related issue for review. And there was no response. It was just another task in her busy schedule. But realizing it was actually the day of Chinese New Year, I decided to shift our interaction, sending her festive stickers and some text wishes as a gesture of goodwill and cultural respect. This small act of sending a greeting wasn't just about observing a tradition. It was actually strategic face work that Goffman mentioned in his theory, an attempt to maintain a professional image while acknowledging our shared culture. And her response was immediate and warm, marked by the return of cultural stickers like firecrackers and fortune stickers. This exchange pulled me into a unique space between the defined stages of interaction. While my message was front stage, crafted under the weight of professional dynamics. Her reply offered a cultural acknowledgement that felt decidedly more personal, warm, yet not entirely backstage. In response, I sent back her to a heart emoji, a silent yet potent communicator of emotion, bridging any remaining distance between us. This simple exchange of New Year wishes, enriched with culturally significant emojis, effortlessly transcended the usual barriers of front stage and backstage, landing us in a shared space of heritage and joy. These nonverbal elements do not simply serve communication. They are acts of face work, as I mentioned, a term government coined long before the digital age. They help us to preserve social harmony and to navigate the waters of our roles with grace and tact. What we are seeing is a shift, a cultural evolution in how we communicate with those in positions of authority. The heart emoji sent to my supervisor, it is redefining our interactions. We are no longer confined to stiff, formal exchanges. We now navigate a space that allows for warmth, a personal touch, even in our professional lives. What about some GIFs, such as some dancing bears? It also has the power to transform a routine query, to soften the edges of formality and infuse a moment with joy and connection. You may wonder, what are you talking about those bears? Now, let's peer into a real interaction with a Chinese international student. So here is the exchange between student A and I. And here is the translation. So student A asked or said, I think some classmates I didn't mention might have registered early and are on the wait list. Then she sends a GIF of two bears dancing together. You may have seen it, but I will play it again. And then she followed, I asked the teacher and then sent him a separate confirmation link. I believe he's now marked as will attend. Then I play blah, blah, blah. How everything is super formal without the GIF regarding two bears dancing together. But here's where the magic happens. The GIF invites me into the exchange, not just as an institutional representative, but as a dance partner in this vibrant digital dialogue. Then there's a laughter we shared, student A and I, during an informal interview where we reflected on how that GIF transformed our exchange. And here is how it happened when we finally meet in person during the event of Forerunner. I asked, do you recall sending me a GIF when you asked me about registration, even though we didn't really know each other at that time? She replied, no, I guess it's just something I do out of habit to be polite when asking questions. And then she paused a second to think. Maybe since we weren't familiar with each other, I thought my question might come off as too direct. I said, I don't think it's like that. Would you send a GIF like that to customer service? And she replied, but you're not customer service. I see what you are implying, that you feel like you were just there to respond my queries. I said, exactly. That's how I saw it. And she said, no, you are like a teaching assistant to me. What are you talking about? This is Pen, not Taobao. And Taobao is the Chinese equivalent of Amazon, an e-commercial platform. So for everybody purchase anything on it. And there's are many customer service representative answered questions. So I once think that my role was the position like that, but it seems no. And student A obviously no longer saw me as just another face behind the WeChat, but as a fellow traveler on their educational journey, a partner rather than a mere service provider. And herein lies the challenge to Goffman's theory. The digital world isn't a rigid stage of front and back, but rather a fluid realm where roles, identities, and cultural contexts dance together in harmony. It's a place where I, as a service provider, can become part of the celebration with just a few clicks. Here's another example from student B, who just got accepted to grad school. So before these conversations happen with all the speakers, this is the exchanges we have, and I translated into English. But in general, he just said, "Is the alumni cocktail party open to me?" he asked. And I replied, "Absolutely, we welcome everybody and we host these events too so everyone can mix." And he then responded with a thumbs up sticker. You may also see it can move, a sign of the casual and welcoming environment we aim to foster. Through these stickers and GIFs, our conversations adopt a new cultural dimension that transcends language. It's a dynamic interplay where a student sticker prompts me to reciprocate, nurturing a sense of intimacy. This is the modern stage, a space that evolves with each exchange and one that government couldn't have anticipated. And it's clear that higher education environments like Penn cultivate a unique atmosphere, one that's distinct from the corporate world. Here, traditional theories adapt to the beat of a different drum, especially when it comes to the non-teaching staff and their interactions with students. The data before us isn't just a collection of instances. It's a window into the soul of our digital selves. Emojis, GIFs, memes, these are the brushstrokes with which we paint our personas online, infusing every interaction with emotional depths and cultural narratives. And what should we glean from this rich tapestry of data? The insights are as vivid as they are vital. Within the nuances of these symbols, we uncover a groundbreaking shift in the dynamics of power. The hierarchies once set in stone are now fluid, challenging with every click and every shared love with those non-textual elements. And let's explore the gravity of this shift. Our professional exchanges, once bound by rigidity, now breathe with the warmth of human experience. A supervisor and a supervisee as me can share a moment of genuine connection amidst the vast digital expanse. And think of the cultural dimension this adds. A simple sticker can carry the weight of tradition. A GIF can be a universal language of empathy. We are witnessing a powerful blend of informality and formality, a melding of professional and personal. In higher education, these revelations have profound implications. Our hallowed halls of learning have extended into the digital realm, where the roles we play and the ways we communicate are being redefined. So, what questions does this raise? Many. How will these trends shape the future of workplace communication, especially in higher education? And can we anticipate the next evolution of digital expression? And how will we, as educators, professionals, and humans, adapt to maintain authenticity in our interactions? As we ponder these questions, let's not forget the power we wield with each symbol we chose. Our digital language is a powerful tool, capable for bridging gaps and building communities. This analysis teaches us that the digital realm is not a separate world, but an extension of our humanity. It challenges us to be mindful of the impressions we leave in the digital footprints we create. And we are always put in the middle stage, different than what Goffman suggested. But we still need to figure out what the exact middle stage is. That is an uncharted area left for more SAC scholars, maybe including me, to further explore. As we move forward, let's harness the insights gleaned from my data to cultivate a more empathetic, connected, and culturally rich digital landscape. I thank you for embarking on this journey of discovery with me. Let us step boldly in the future, crafting digital identities that are as authentic and multifaceted as we are.